are some of the challenges that usually happen that people don't even expect as they've crossed the six figures and now they're on their road to $1 million?
You know what? That is such a great question. And in fact, actually, we didn't talk about this beforehand, but I lead a entrepreneurs group in Seattle for companies that have done over 250 that are trying to break $1 million. So it's part of it's the EO Accelerator program in Seattle.
Oh, I'm familiar with EO.
I'm one of the volunteers, so I'm an EO member and I'm a volunteer leading the Seattle Accelerator program. And that's exactly what we do. Is we basically coach entrepreneurs that have broken 250, that are trying to figure out how to get up to the next level and get to $1 million. And I'll tell you what, the simplest version I see recurring again and again and again is you can work hard to get to three figures, to get to six figures. Like I can work hard to break $100,000. I think it's even possible to start to approach $1 million by working super hard, but it is a diminishing result because one person pushing harder and harder and harder, you can only go so far. So really, to be able to break into the next phase, to be able to go from 6 figures to 7 figures it's a team sport. It is a sport in which we have to enroll the talents of others and rely on the talents of others to be able to carry us the next phase. And just even your face right there, like the wider eyes, that can be a terrifying feeling for an entrepreneur. And it ranges from a terrifying feeling of feeling replaced or feeling like they're maybe not important because they're not making the central decision on everything, to guilt that other people are doing work. So it ranges from feeling guilty that other people are doing the work to this personal need to jump in and justify my own existence by making sure I'm the most important person in the room. I will say that, when I'm with entrepreneurs that have all broken the $1 million mark and, are building larger companies, there is this natural conversation they have about teams and recruiting people. And basically, they have made peace with building a company in which other people are carrying a large portion of the load. It is entrepreneurs under $1 million that are often the superstars in their particular area that have been trying to overuse their skill set to try to get across that line instead of finding a path that lets others carry.
That hits a little too close to home, Craig. I'm supposed to be doing an interview, and here I am feeling all vulnerable and slightly targeted because, I love playing the savior role. Even before I was an entrepreneur, as an employee, I would love to come in, be the knight in shining armor, and be able to save the day. And then I see that, oh my God, my lack of proactivity is creating the fires that I get to water down. And then guess what? It wastes time, it wastes resources, and being able to rely on others. There's this idea in my head that it's like, well, nobody will work as hard as me as the owner of this. And if I get someone else to do it, they won't do it as good as me. And I feel like that might be something holding me back.
Well, I'll tell you what, it often takes 2 or 3 employees to replace me in roles that I help start. Because I'm a fast starter, let's say I tend to focus on the 20% of the job that I feel has the greatest impact and leverage to be able to get a result. You can either be saying I'm efficient, or you can say that I don't complete all my tasks. I just basically do enough to basically get the job done. And then I hire specialists or employees in different areas, and those people do a more complete job. They take the job to a level of execution that maybe I wouldn't, but also along the way, they move a little bit slower and they think of maybe a little more deeply. There is this, there's kind of this phrase that is coined a lot with entrepreneurs. If you want to go somewhere fast, go alone. If you want to go somewhere far, build a team. And so one of the things I had to learn as an entrepreneur when I am starting to trust other people is 2 things. I need to allow the job to be done wrong repeatedly to allow other people to learn how to do it right. And there's 2 things happening there. One is, regardless of how good they're doing it, it's going to feel wrong to me as the entrepreneur because I'm not the one doing it. So I almost can't even trust my own judgment. And the second thing is, they need to have the room to make the job theirs. If I'm going to be growing a business in which there are other stakeholders and leaders, I need to give those other stakeholders and leaders room to be able to lead and have stake. And it does mean sometimes that I'm choosing the slower path for longer term gain. And it does mean that sometimes I choose to let a particular day's win not be the exact win that I would have made, but I am allowing other people to do it.
I feel like I'm getting myself into some sort of like coaching relationship with you, Craig. But all I can think about, like, as you're having these conversations, and for those who are listening on the podcast, if you do go to YouTube and see the video, I don't know if my video editor is going to show my face while I'm in like deep thought. And unfortunately, I had a moment of losing presence because I'm thinking of my team. I'm thinking of the times that I've jumped in and kind of stopped them in the middle of their progress because I was like, they're not clear on it. It's so much easier and faster if I just go and do it. And then I realized, like, oh, look, I've given myself a task, which means I don't have as much bandwidth to work on what is necessary and of high leverage, as you explained, to be able to get it to the next level. So I'm sure I'm not alone on this journey. And it sounds like this is a process you've worked with a lot of people on.
And worked with myself. This, the only reason I recognize is because I lived it and still live it to a degree. Like it is a little bit like the fear where I recognize the emotion and then step through it. I've been onboarding for the last month a new head of marketing, and she's fantastic. And she's fantastic. But you know what? She is not the fantastic that I had actually thought I had hired. So there are differences in the person that she is versus the fantasy that I had of our new head of marketing.